So I'm just going to go from left to right here and just show you everything that's in this run. As you can see, let's start out with the portobello mushrooms. I got some of those there. I could get organic mushrooms at Walmart also, but they looked so beautiful there. I went ahead and got them. This is unusual to find organic red cherries, but they had them at Costco and they had the organic strawberries. So they look really good. I got a package of these last week and they were wonderful. Really, really good taste. You can eat them fresh. You can put them in a smoothie, whichever you prefer. I got a hammy melon this week because I bought one last week. My neighbor told me, don't wait till it softens because it'll be overripe or too ripe. And we went ahead and ate it, and it was rock hard last week, and it was delicious. It's a very sweet melon, well worth your time to go ahead and try it. So that's H-A-M-I, hammy melon. Organic pumpkin seeds, a little bit of salt in there, but that's okay. I just use them in smoothies, salads. You can eat them, you know, plain also, but they're really good in a lot of different things. I put them in my breakfast cereal in the morning. I got nuts because we're running out. It's always good to have a handful of nuts in your day. I would say about a quarter cup is what's recommended in your day from nutritionfacts.org, based on a lot of different things. A lot of the nutrients in each of these different nuts, pecans, walnuts, and almonds, are going to be different. I'm going to add a little bit of cashews and pistachios in from the other store. But I'm going to make a nut mixture, and then we have about a quarter cup a day for the different nutrients. They all add different types of oils to your system that are very good for your entire body. They are carrying organic creamy almond butter there now, which contains only almonds. Those of you that I'm working with for reading labels, ingredients, organic dry roasted almonds. That's it. Beautiful. I got crunchy munchy apples this week. They're organic. I could have gotten Gala, but last week from Costco I got Cosmic Crisp, and they absolutely were some of the best apples I've had in years, but they were huge and they didn't have them today, or I would have gotten them again. So I'm checking out the crunchy munchies this week. We bought mango frozen this week. Last week we bought it fresh, and so this week we bought it frozen because it gives you a little bit more leeway when you have to eat it. When you buy it fresh, you have to eat one of those mangoes every single day, whether you like it or not, and they're a little bit messy to peel and chunk up, but they were delicious fresh. But this way we can have a few chunks a day and get some of that spermidine, which is the nutrient that is contained in the mango and wheat germ and other foods, but it's the nutrient that provides you a longer lifespan. It's known for increasing lifespan. So mango is a great one to have because it has that in it. This is a mix that my husband's been using to make me some smoothies. Can't see it very well, but this is also Costco. Peaches, mango, strawberries, and pineapple. And then I usually have him put some berries. So this one has strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. These are all wonderful antioxidants. And I am really increasing the antioxidants in my body right now because I was having quite a flare-up of inflammation and pain. And since I increased the colorful fruits, and because I was only having about 3 a day, I guess, the colorful fruits, and also adding some turmeric and ginger to my life, my body aches have almost completely gone away. So I feel much, much better since I started doing that. And I took out a few other things too, which we'll talk about in another video. But for now, that was the Costco run. I'm just gonna back out a little here, give you the final look. And we'll see you in the next video, in which I'm going to talk about the Walmart part of my grocery run today. So let's go over the Walmart part of the grocery run today. Here's just an overview of everything we got, and I'm going to just start over on the left here and and go through these things. Green beans. Green beans are excellent. It's one of the most common vegetable favorites in the United States. Don't hesitate to use them if you love green beans. My husband does, and I get them for him every week. The only thing to remember is you need to use them pretty quickly because they don't last very long. Then if we go on, they had asparagus and it looked wonderful. As you can see, I've already put it in the jar. I'm going to be putting the plastic bag over it to keep it in the refrigerator, but I'll fill my jar with a couple inches of water to keep them fresh. You can cut off about a half an inch of the bottom, just like you do with parsley or cilantro or any of the herbs that have a stem like that. It keeps them much longer. My husband is buying a little bit more maple syrup these days because he's making his own chocolate. He happened to look on the label of the chocolate syrup he wanted to buy, and besides having high fructose corn syrup, it had a lot of things that he didn't recognize. And this, when he makes it with this and some cocoa, maybe a Ghirardelli's dark baking chocolate, puts it in some soy milk, he has a really nice version, maybe a little vanilla, really nice version of chocolate milk. A whole lot healthier than some of the other things that are found in the chocolate syrup that you buy already made. And this maple syrup, by the way, ingredient list, maple syrup. That's all it has, one ingredient. I bought some nuts. Now at Walmart, I bought the cashews. These are the raw, unsalted cashews and lightly salted pistachios. When I buy nuts in a larger volume, like I did at Costco, to mix as a nut mixture that we're going to have a little bit every day, those volumes of nuts, because there's such a large amount, they really need to be kept in the freezer because they stay much fresher, and you don't want nuts to go rancid on you because that is a high oxidation process that goes on in your body when you're trying to process food that is going bad, like nuts that are stale. So keep those nuts in the freezer unless they're small amounts like this that you're going to use every day. We bought some potatoes. Of course, many of you have heard my recent potato videos. When you cook potatoes and you go to eat them, it'll be a much slower blood sugar spike if you cook them and cool them first. It crystallizes the sugars and it slows that blood sugar spike down as you absorb it into your body. So that's one of the ways to make your potatoes just a little bit healthier. I have been having a flare-up of inflammation lately, so I'm really, as you saw with my Costco run, I had a lot of dark cherries and dark blueberries and things like that. Mixed berries, actually, raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries. But in this case, I'm also really using a lot of turmeric and ginger to decrease that inflammation in my body, and it's working quite nicely. So I just looked for different varieties of turmeric and ginger. One of the things to remember when you're using these, this one has it in it already. It has a little bit of black pepper, which helps you absorb and use the turmeric in your body a little bit easier. But these other two do not have it, and so I will probably put a sprinkle of black pepper in them so that I can use that turmeric a little bit better. You can also use a little bit of sweetener in these if you want. I tend to use stevia, powdered stevia, which is organic powdered stevia, if I want any sweetness at all in something like that. These tend to be a little bit spicier as a drink, so just be aware of that before you're trying to use it. I bought some soy. That's for my husband. He is converting very nicely, I might say, from whole milk to drinking soy milk. And he found that what worked for him was to dilute the soy milk half and half with water, and then he adds a little bit of vanilla to it, and he's really enjoying it. And actually that's much, much better for him because even men need soy milk to balance their hormones out. It balances all of the same hormones it does in women, but it also is very good for muscle tone and balancing testosterone. So my usual spring mix of lettuce, I have that almost every day. Today I actually had it in a smoothie, which I haven't for a while, but sometimes when I need it and I don't have time to eat a full salad, I will put it into a smoothie along with some other fibers and other things. It is not a sweet smoothie, it is more of a salad type smoothie. So I put lemon in it, a little bit of peppers and tomatoes. It's almost like a vegetable juice more than anything else, and it was quite good, but gives you a nice amount of nutrients in a very quick or fast food kind of way if you need it, which I did. I also added some avocado to that, which really boosts not just the flavor of that smoothie, but it boosts the calorie content and gives you a little bit of some natural oils that you really need. Ginger snap peas made it home from the grocery store today with me intact. I didn't eat them all the way home, which I usually do, but they're great for snacking. I am trying out buying the cucumbers and the large ones this time. These are individually wrapped and they do last a little bit longer than the small cucumbers, but I really like the small cucumbers. See how this goes, having them large and have them individually wrapped. I bet they'll last. I bet they won't go bad before I can eat them all. This is a wonderful salad mix. My husband really likes this one, but this is just one example of some of the chopped salads that are already prepared. They do have a dressing with them, which you can use or may not. It just depends on where you are in your transition to healthy eating. But it is a really good way to start getting some of these really good vegetables into your day. It's very easy. They're all ready. They contain high amounts of lettuce, kale, dark purple, like sometimes radicchio, and sometimes purple cabbage, carrots, just a wide mixture of different cruciferous vegetables and other vegetables that you need in your diet every day. And then they're usually a variation of some kind of fruit in it, a berry or a dried fruit. They might have some kind of nuts, but in general, they are a really good way to start. And I've had a number of my clients and patients start their salad journey with using some of these prepared salads. And I don't hesitate to have them do that. I think it's a really good way to start. Oh, my husband is eating corn, as you can see. I'm not eating it right now because of the inflammation that I'm trying to decrease in my system. But corn on the cob, wonderful. Carrots, pretty simple. Carrots, vitamin A, just about every day. We have to have some kind of vitamin A. And if it's not carrots, then I often will use sweet potato. I'm getting ready to do a prep here. As you can see, I bought ginger root, lots of garlic. I guess that's not a lot the way most people buy it, and lemons. And I will be doing the prep with these things so that I can grate them and put them in the freezer in small amounts that I can just take out and use easily during the week if all I need is a teaspoon or a tablespoon of any one of those things. And same with the lemons. I'll juice them and put them in an ice cube tray in small amounts. That's about 2 tablespoons in one of the little ice cube things, so that when you need it for a recipe, it's already done. It's really easy. It has no citric acid as a preservative in it. It's just a really nice way to have it. And then radishes. Radishes, if you didn't know, are a cruciferous vegetable, and that counts as your 1 cruciferous vegetable a day if you get enough of the radishes. But even if you just put a few in your salad, slice them up, use them like dippers. I like to use them like dippers. By the way, this salad is loaded with cruciferous vegetables if you're somebody who's having trouble getting started with that. So let's just back up. I'll just back out and give you an overall view, and I will see you in the next video in which we're going to go over the natural food stores part of my grocery haul today. All right, so this is the portion of the grocery run from our health food store called the Real Food Market and Deli in Helena, Montana. And you can see I don't buy a lot of things there, and that's because of what I usually say, and that is that your best health food store is still your garden variety grocery store. So whether it's Walmart or Costco or Safeway or Albertsons or wherever you shop for your groceries, Superfoods, Winco, all these places, those places potentially are your best health food store. It depends on what you're buying there, but they are loaded with things that are nutrient dense, that are very healthy for you, as long as you're selective, and they have very good prices. So don't hesitate to buy there. Read your labels, buy in bulk if you can. Costco is another great place to buy in bulk. In this case, I buy in bulk at my health food store. So I buy spices in bulk, I buy grains in bulk, anything that I can that I don't necessarily find in my regular grocery store, I get at my health food store in bulk if possible. So over here, just a few spices to add to my armamentarium. I do this slowly because spices are very expensive, especially organic spices. But I have some fennel, whole seeds, and powder. And fennel is a wonderful one for taking the place of soy that I can't have this month because I'm just cutting out some things that might be causing inflammation so that I can test them. But in the meantime, I'm using fennel because it does help balance hormones. So does fenugreek. Help balance hormones like estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone for both men and women. So that means that it will help improve muscle tone in both men and women, and it will increase those hormones to a much more normal level than might be the case if you're just under a lot of stress or you're just eating a lot of foods that are animal-based. So the other things I have here are coriander and caraway, and they're just things that some of the spice mixtures call for every once in a while, or a recipe does that I didn't have on hand. One of the things that I have found in nutritionfacts.org is, on that website, is some spice mixtures that can really beef up a lot of flavor in soups and stews. They don't have a lot of salt in them, but you can add the salt if you need to. And they just add a lot of flavor to different dishes, but they do contain a lot of different spices. So you have to plan ahead, look at the recipe, make sure that you gradually have those spices on hand, and then make yourself a mixture, because the mixtures last for a while. I put mine in the refrigerator, and it's just a good way to season something when you want some more flavor in it. This is parsley, as you can see. It's in the jar, the way I always talk about. And I'm going to put a little bit of water in the bottom and put this plastic bag that I bought it in back over the top. And it will keep very nicely in my refrigerator. Here's some chickpea flour. Because I'm not doing gluten right now, no wheat, rye, or barley, I'm using a lot of recipes from Ella Vegan, E-L-A-V-E-G-A-N, ellavegan.com. And she's done such an incredible job with any kind of gluten-free recipe and taken some favorite things that you're used to, like certain kinds of breads or desserts, or in my case, tortillas. I miss tortillas, and I miss having a burrito or something like that. And she just has a great recipe for tortillas to use as a burrito. You can also use the recipe for crepes. It holds together well. You can use it like a flatbread and make a wrap out of it. So really good site. Chickpea flour she uses a lot, among other types of non-gluten flours. These are broccoli sprouts. Broccoli sprouts are microgreens that are 100 times more potent than broccoli. Believe it or not, it's hard to imagine, but they are loaded with the same chemical that's in broccoli that's so very, very healthy. But I think, in general, microgreens are. So if you got radish microgreens or some other, I'm trying to remember some of the others. But anyway, the microgreens are just such a concentrated form of nutrients over and above even the whole food grown plant. So consider that if you have a chance to use microgreens. Just backing up here, I'm going to show you these three. These are grains that I'm using in place of wheat and rye and barley this month while I'm doing the Clean Reset program. And I'm doing it to decrease inflammation in my body because I was getting to the point where I could hardly move. I couldn't hardly walk. And so I had to take the gluten out of my diet, among other things. So now I substitute things like gluten-free oats, different rices, brown rice, of course, but there's a lot of varieties of rices out there. One of my favorites is from Costco. It's called Jazzberry, and it is a black purple rice. It's delicious. It smells like vanilla is what it smells like, but it's delicious. And quinoa another substitute. Teff you could substitute, and then these three here: millet, amaranth, and buckwheat. They're all good substitutes for using grains if you are not using gluten. Amaranth and millet, you can soak them and it will cut down on the time it takes to cook them, but it's no harder than cooking brown rice. So 45 to 50 minutes to cook it. Millet, I believe, if you soak it overnight, especially either of these, they'll cook for a little less time and a little less water. Buckwheat is very fast. It cooks in about 20 minutes, and it's really nice to have as an alternative. Any of those grains you can have with dinner, or you can have them like a cereal in the morning, just like you do your oatmeal. And lastly, I forgot to tell you about this. So these are two other things I got from the health food store, the real food store today, and they are fermented veggies. So one was a kimchi I've never tried before, and one was this is a herbal kraut, and it just has some wonderful things in it. It has cabbage, carrots, burdock, horseradish, garlic, kale, nettle leaf, ginger, lemon, Himalayan salt, thyme, oregano, and cayenne. It should be wonderful. So that was the natural food store part of our grocery run today. And if you want any information on the Clean Reset program, you can download the PDF, and we will see you in our next video, which is going to be for prepping some of this. Okay, see you soon.